Welcome to Staying Sweet, the podcast. Tune into my weekly podcast to hear me, Alice Bradley, delve deeper into building your personal brand, up-level your mindset and tap into your highest potential using what makes you, you, all while staying sweet, of course. Whether you're looking to level up within an existing business, start something of your own, or create a fulfilling, balanced and healthier lifestyle, each episode will be curated especially to inspire and encourage your own success. Plus, don't miss out on the Staying Sweet specials, a series of exclusive interviews and conversations with Alice's network of entrepreneurs and brand owners. Don't forget there are new episodes every Monday. If you enjoyed the podcast, please do leave a rate and review. For more daily content, check out @Staying Sweet Podcast over on Instagram. Stay sweet. Hey guys, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Staying Sweet, the podcast. I have a really amazing guest to introduce today. I basically found Jessica Poole on Spotify and was introduced to her podcast and effectively ended up binge listening to a few of her episodes. She is a manifestation and mindset coach as well as an actor. So I would love to introduce you to you, Jessica. Welcome.
Hi. Oh, thank you so much for inviting me on.
We're just saying that this is the first time I've ever interviewed over sort of Zoom or Riverside. We're using some high-tech kit over here today. So I'm really looking forward to chatting to you today about manifestation and how you got into really just becoming, you know, a leader for others to kind of follow within the manifestation space.
I mean, it's so nice that you found me obviously through my podcast, because that's one platform that I'm on all the time, and because I can talk. So I'm excited for this interview. But it's really great that you've found me, and that thank you so much for asking me on here, and I'm very excited to chat all things manifestation as usual.
Amazing. I think manifestation is one of those things that people either are really open about or secretly are obsessed with. And it's funny because it's one of my most looked at podcasts or listened to podcasts. So anything to do with manifestation, there's going to be lots of chat today about sort of money mindset, limiting beliefs, and just getting yourself invested in manifestation, really opening up the possibilities with it. So tell me more about your introduction to manifestation. How did you start?
Yeah, I mean, so for me, I went through a rock bottom moment, and I basically hit this point in my life where I was like, what the hell am I doing with my life? You know? And I feel that most people go through that at some point in their life. I'm finding that there's a lot of 20-something-year-olds that go through that, but even younger as well, you know, because there's more and more of us now being pulled towards the things that really are our purpose, our passion in life. And I think, you know, generations ago, it's been very much like, we're just going to work to live. Whereas nowadays we have more opportunity to kind of live and work at the same time. And so I went through this stage, obviously, like you said, I'm an actor, and I kind of hit this place where I wasn't really getting any auditions. I was just kind of like slaving my way, trying to pay for my acting career, you know, and notoriously as actors, we can struggle with that, you know. And I kind of hit the cherry on the cake for me was when my ex-boyfriend of 5 years left me, and I was already in this little mental health dip, and that kind of just topped it all off for me. And I was lying in bed one day. I actually vividly remember it. It was on my birthday, and I was lying there on my birthday.
Why is it always a birthday?
It's always the birthdays, right?
It's always a birthday.
It is, because that's when you sit and reflect, and you're like, what have I done for the past year? You know, what have I done for the past few years of my life? And I remember I was lying in my bed, and I was just like, I need change. Something needs to change. It was almost as if visually I saw two paths going two different ways. I was just lying there. I was seeing these two paths, and I was seeing one path, which is where I was, and the mindset I was in, and the space I was in, and the fact that I really had very little self-worth and self-respect, and I was watching that path, and I was going, do you know what, if I go down that path, if I keep going down there, I'm like, my life is going to be nothing. There's going to be absolutely nothing for me. And then I looked at this other path, and I literally was like, right, well, this is my opportunity. Sorry, I've just seen a butterfly fly past my window. Wow. I've got so distracted, but butterflies are one of my signs. But I looked at this other path and I was like, well, this is my opportunity to actually do something with my life. And it was like really that one moment for me it was my 25th birthday. And I was like, which path am I going to go down? And I decided that day it was going to be that path, which was the path of, creating the life that I actually want to live. And so I went on that journey myself. I had a mindset awakening first. Because a lot of people can kind of say, oh, I've gone through this, and I'm not sure kind of what your audience, how spiritual your audience are, but I know a lot of people.
I think they're open-minded to it. I think it's about finding the right people to connect the dots. I feel like you were definitely one of those people for me. I know I've been on that journey for a long time, but it was one of those things where I listened to what you were saying and I was like, wow, this actually makes sense. There's clarity in what you're saying. You can read a lot of things about manifestation and be a bit sort of taken aback with all the words and the deeper meaning, but you kind of bring that clarity.
Well, that's actually so good to hear, because that's where I started. Like I didn't have this whole massive spiritual awakening like some people say they do. I started off mindset wise. For me, it was this 4D mindset work that I was doing that was like, I'm going to shift now. Right. And I didn't actually, the spiritual side of things for me, I grew into, and I had a spiritual awakening after that. And I've had multiple since then. And, maybe we can chat a little bit about that. But it's really great to know that, like, I am, for you saying, like, coming in, going, oh, there's a lot of stuff out there. But to make it digestible and relatable, because it really is just, it's something that we all have the ability to connect into, and it doesn't have to be this whole like woo crazy ass stuff that, like me talking about a butterfly going across my window. Some people might listen to that and be like, oh my God, what is this? But at the end of the day, you have to do for you anything that helps you get into that place, helps you get into that vibration of attracting what you want in. It doesn't matter what you believe right now. It doesn't matter what you believe in 5 years' time. Whatever is the right thing for you is the right thing. Okay. And I, because I coach all sorts of people, I don't coach, I coach different religious people and like all sorts of things. You have your own thing. That's absolutely fine. But whatever works for you works for you. And so for me, I went on this mindset journey first. And I hired my own coaches, my own mentors. I did various courses. I'm a very strong believer of investing in yourself, because that again, we'll chat about money mindset. Like that's like a huge thing with money mindset. Because for me, my main goals in life were, number one, to feel good again, to feel happy, right? Because I just wasn't happy in myself. I went through a number of years where I struggled with an eating disorder, and I hated the way I looked, and I had very little confidence in myself. And as an actor, like I was all fine getting up on stage, but as myself, as Jess, I didn't know who the hell I was. So I, number one, just wanted to understand my identity and find myself again, as like wanky as it sounds, I really did. I needed to find myself. And then after that, I was like, okay, well, what else do I want to call into my life? Well, I wanted my career to take off. I wanted to make money so that I could have that freedom, and I wanted strong community, because for me, that was just like, that was like a big thing on my vision board. It was this strong community, strong female community, but just in general, and healing those relationships, because for many years with my ex-partner, I heavily relied on him, which is another reason why I lost myself. And so all of those things I set out to do. I had this mindset awakening first, and then I had this spiritual awakening where a lot of the magic a lot of the miracle side of things, which is, you know, obviously what I talk about. I've got an academy called the Mindset Miracles and Manifestation Academy. And it's those three things, you know, starting off with the mindset work, because it's not all just about your mindset, it's about energy. And then we go into the energy work with the miracle side of things, which is really what opened everything up for me. And then the manifestation side of things is making that stuff happen, like actually bringing it into your physical reality. And there's a lot of action taking that we have to do to get to that point. And I am a big one for taking inspired action. Like I take a lot of action. I love that. And I think it's so important because I think it's one of the biggest misconceptions about manifestation. You know, a lot of us think we can just think it and it'll just happen for us, and we just think positive thoughts and it'll happen for us. But one of the biggest and most exciting things about the manifestation process is doing the damn thing. So definitely. Yeah, so that's kind of the process I went down. And now I run this business. I support lots of other people in the process. I've got my podcast. I'm a content creator, as well as doing all of my acting career, and that taking off as well. So it just goes to show that literally when you do put your mind on it and you go down that path rather than the other path, you know, if you think of your life in those two ways, you can achieve anything.
I think that's really inspiring, and it's definitely one of those things that fascinates me in terms of having that rock bottom moment. I know some people will have that moment for themselves, but others may feel like, well, life's okay. Is there still room for me to manifest and change my life? What would you say to someone that's unsure? They know they want more from their life. They're just kind of living in that stagnancy. What would you say for someone to do?
Yeah, you know, and because I've said this before, you know, you don't have to have hit that rock bottom stage like I did, where I was so unhappy. You know, you don't have to be there to start manifesting the life of your dreams today. If you're feeling a little bit meh, like, ugh, like
that should be enough.
That is enough for you to go, I need to change my life, because we're born to feel good, right? And so if you're feeling any kind of like stagnancy, feeling drained, any of this stuff, that is your cue. That is your permission to go and fight for what it is that you want.
Amazing. So with your routine, I think for me, routine recently has been the small shift and the first like baby step back into believing in the power of manifestation. What are your sort of morning routine essentials? What gets you, you know, on that right frequency for the day? Yeah.
You know what? Again, maybe a lot of your listeners will have heard of morning routines and, you know, journaling and meditation and all of these things. Yeah, it is damn well important. But listen, you don't have to. One thing I'll say about your morning routine is that don't go into it with the belief that it's not going to work for you. I think a lot of people do. I think that's why a lot of people are kind of put off by it and go, oh no, it's not going to do anything, right? Go into it with the belief that this is going to change my freaking life, right? And you find the things that work for you. For me, there's some non-negotiables. Journaling. For me, and again, it's not the same for everybody. I've had clients that don't actually like writing. They like speaking it, like audio version. Great. But journaling really is just a process of, it's like a brain splurge, so you can just get everything that's like running through your brain out on the page. And what that does is it makes space in your brain. It makes space for the things the things that are going to be important to focus on to come in, right? But when you're waking up in the morning and you've got all sorts of things and to-do lists and all that in your head, you know, you've not got any space in there to actually focus. So I do like morning pages where I'll literally write for like 3 pages in like a proper journal, and I'll just like brain splurge, whatever comes out, to-do lists, how I'm feeling, things that have pissed me off, you know, like just whatever it is, just putting it out on the page and just dragging it out of your brain through the pen onto the page, and it's done. It's out, and you'll find that you're way more clear to then carry on the rest of your day. So journaling is a huge one for me. Meditation, again, guys, meditation. I actually, my latest podcast episode was about this, because I think a lot of people as well that are starting off on this journey kind of go, oh my God, meditation, like how the hell am I going to sit there and not think about anything? And that is not really what meditation is. Meditation is just you time. And even 5 minutes a day with a guided one, I've just brought a free guided one out, so you can go and grab that if you want. But
amazing.
with a guided meditation for 5 minutes a day, all it's doing is allowing, again, space. This is all about energetic space, right? All it's doing is allowing that space for your intuition to come in. And I talk a lot about intuition, because this is really that's your guide. They're the answers you need that we're seeking to get to the next level in our lives. So meditation, journaling, and the final thing I'd say with morning routine would be movement. And movement doesn't have to mean you're going to the gym every single morning. It doesn't have to mean you're going for a run every single morning. The movement side of things for me can happen at any point in the day. It doesn't have to be the morning. But what movement does is it gets that energy moving around your body so that it is not stagnant, because energy is always moving, right? And if we are moving, even if we're just putting on like a tune, our favorite tune, and just dancing around our room like a mad woman, like that is immediately making you, like, raising your vibe.
100%.
So, yeah. So
have you got any songs or a playlist that you are inspired by? What? Tell me more. I
actually created a bad bitch playlist, which is on my
love
Spotify,
that.
Which anybody can go and join and add in your own songs.
I love that collaborative experience.
Yeah, because I did a little challenge in my Facebook community once, and I was like, right, I'm just going to make this playlist so that we can all enjoy it together. But listen, like, it's just whatever lights you up, whatever gets you going, like lights that fire up your ass, you know what I mean?
100%.
So yeah, like they're the main things for me. It would be journaling, meditation, and movement.
Incredible. And what would you do? Maybe you've just kind of answered that with the music side of things. What would you do to kind of shift or get yourself out of a low vibration? Would you say music is your go-to for kind of releasing that energy?
I'd say the movement is, for sure. Like, you don't underestimate your bodies, guys, because I think as well, when a lot of people dive into this energy work, or you know, this manifestation work, we can kind of get stuck in our own minds. You know, when we're doing a lot of this mindset work, and when we're going, oh, I'm going to say my affirmations, I'm going to, you know, like, we can get stuck there, guys. And really, like, you got to remember that we're not just living in this 4D, 5D, like we're living in a 3D world, and that means your 3D body is involved. So, you know, get it moving, get it like involved with what you're doing. All of your energy is stored in there. So if you're feeling any kind of stagnancy, the best thing I would say is move that body.
Incredible. And what practices would you say you get the most out of in terms of manifestation? What's reaped the most reward? Because I know there's lots of different techniques. TikTok is, you know, riddled with all these different methods and hacks. And what would you say is your preferred way to manifest?
Yeah, you bring up a really good point there as well, because with things like TikTok and on Instagram, there's also a lot of people that are preaching things that they don't know that much about. And one of the things that I pride myself on as a mentor is that I've done all of this shit. Like, I have lived this life. Like, so everything that I teach with manifestation, I've done it before and I've seen results. And I think one of the things you got to know about manifestation is that it's not something we do, it's something we are, right? It's how we are as people. It's how we feel. Everything starts from a feeling, if you want to call anything into your life. So for me, and again, people may have heard of embodiment processes. For me, embodiment is the main thing, right? For me, when it comes to manifesting anything, embodying the woman that you want to be right now. And I go in on this inside my academy. It's like something that it completely changed my life, right? And so I've also got like a hell of a lot of embodiment stories that I can tell you. But really, like, when you're embodying that woman, it's about asking yourself, what would she be, or she or he be thinking, how would they be showing up? How would they be dressing? You know, like asking yourself those questions and going, okay, well, I'm going to do that now. I'm going to do that right now. I'm not going to wait. Why am I waiting? I'm just going to put on the clothes that my next level self would wear. I'm going to show up as her. I'm going to speak her language. I'm going to take the action as her. And in the embodiment process, that requires like telling a few white lies. And that's okay, right? I'm not talking about like, you know, going full out and just completely lying about everything. But like those little white lies, I'll give you an example of an embodiment story that actually saw true results for me. So as I've just said, I'm an actor, and I was in London on a trip, and I was actually guest speaking for my coaching, and I had a lot of people and new people. I was meeting new people, right? And these were strangers. And I'd say as well with the embodiment process, chatting to strangers is the best. That's just a little top tip.
You can become anyone, can't you?
You can become anyone, absolutely. And this is what it's all about. So I was meeting all these people. I'd come out of this chat. I'd come out of this guest speaking, and someone actually stopped me on the street, and they were like, "Oh, you know, like what have you been doing?" And I spoke to them. I said, "Oh, well," they said, "Okay, who are you? What do you do?" I said, "Oh, I'm an actor." That's the truth, obviously. And then they said, "Oh my gosh, have you been in anything?" I'm like, "No." It's a classic question that gets asked. And I said, "Yeah, I have." Now at this point, I hadn't. So here's the thing, guys. This is the main thing that I teach. As powerful manifestors, we need to get out of being in your current reality. You need to get out of this current reality, and you need to get into your imagination. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're doing that with a stranger, who the fuck cares? Because they may never see you again, right? So I turn around to this guy and I say, "Yeah, I'm an actor. Yeah, I'm on TV at the moment, actually." "Oh my gosh, what are you in? Can I see you?" "Well, no, you can't. Like, it's not actually out yet, but it'll be out very soon." Brilliant. "Oh my gosh, I can't wait. Like, what's your name? Let me get your Instagram." Yeah, sure. Here you go. Literally went along with this for a good 10 minutes chatting to this person, because I went all in. I didn't dismiss it. I didn't dismiss this connection. I went all in. This was my opportunity to really embellish this embodiment. So I was like, right, okay, yeah, this is the woman I am. I'm going to be on TV. It's going to be a big thing, blah, blah, blah. No word of a lie. That same week, I get a call from my agent to tell me, "You have just booked your first TV job."
Wow.
Yeah, right? And
so
now
you stepped into that power.
I just stepped into that person. Now what happens is when you embody that person today, you embody that energy. And it's that energy that then attracts what it is that you want. So there was no ounce of me that was worrying about what I was saying, overthinking what I was saying. I was acting, essentially. So it is a great practice for an actor. But it's really just allowing yourself to let go and go, "Do you know what? I'm just going to have fun with this. I'm just going to be delusional with this. It's
a bit of improv."
It's a bit of improv, but you are improving the life and the person that you want to be. Mm-hmm. What's the worst that can happen? Do you know what I mean? And so I've got a ton of other ones. I've got ones about money mindset as well. All of this stuff that I can go into, but it is very, very powerful practice. So I'm sorry, I've forgotten the actual question because I've gone off on a rant about embodiment, but
Not at all, but I think there's a really strong link there though with money mindset, and I think people on the journey to becoming their, ideal future self, connecting the dots with money as well. People find that shift quite difficult, particularly if they are in a position of financial insecurity, or they're deciding that, hey, I'm going to start this, I'm going to launch this business. I work with a lot of people and have a lot of conversations with, people that want to start a business but are too scared to, based on the financial mindset that they have. How would you link that embodiment into money mindset and, opening up your banking app and not seeing the figures that you necessarily want to be seeing? How do you tap into that?
Yeah, so I love talking about money, right? Because for me, as I said in my story, like however many years ago when I hit that rock bottom, I was an out of work actress and I had no money. And when I talk about no money, I really mean I had to get my parents to pay for my travel, my train ticket back home from London. I was living in London at the time because I just physically couldn't pay. I had no money in the bank account. And so for me, it was a big goal of mine, but really the reason that I think I attracted so much in such a short space of time, because in my own story, I created a 6-figure business in less than a year. And I think the reason that I attracted so much in such a short space of time was because I wasn't actually focusing on manifesting the money in that moment. It was a goal, but my attention and the need wasn't there to go, oh, you know, like, how do I, every single day waking up going, how do I manifest money? How do I manifest money? I was actually going, how do I feel good? How do I feel good? How do I feel good? Because again, money is just energy. So if you're wanting to embody that woman that is financially very abundant, that 6-figure earning businesswoman, right? If you're wanting to embody that, you've got to embody the feeling of that. And how would she feel? Well, she wouldn't be worrying about money for one, because she's got tons of it in a bank account. So if you're in the vibration of worry, then you're not hitting that embodiment of your next level. So now that is way easier said than done. And I understand. And guys, like I can sit here and say this because I was there, right? But what you've got to do is you've got to start focusing on the things that light you up. Those of you that are in like a really, really, really low place when it comes to money blocks, stop focusing on attracting money. Because the more you think about money, the more you're actually thinking, I don't have that money, right? The more you focus in that area, the more your mind is just taking you to, I don't have that. I don't have that. So if you're wanting to start off your money mindset journey, I'd say stop focusing on money altogether, right? Another big thing I'd say though, for you guys that, you know, you're at this point where you're like, yeah, I'm really ready. I'm really ready to call this in. Maybe you've started a business and maybe you're like, yeah, like, where do I go from here? Get rid of the notion that as well, money is not the most important thing in your life. And I think that people believe that money isn't important, the thing that they should be focusing on, because there's a lot of limiting beliefs and conditioning we have around whether it's a good thing to focus on. A lot of people think it's bad, it's wrong to focus on money, being money driven, right? As I've said before, money is just energy. So if you're kind of, this is something I did, you know, at the start of when I first started discovering my money blocks, I realized that I used to tell myself, oh, I don't act, you know, because like, you know, I'm not a creative. I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it for the love, right? If that's a phrase you've ever said to yourself, I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it because I love it. Money isn't important to me. Money isn't my main focus. And you're looking at other people that are money driven and you're going, oh God, they're like, how bad are those people? They're so focused on money. Like, ugh. If you're looking at those people and doing that, what you're doing is you're basically just saying that money is a totally different thing to love. Money and love are one and the same because they're just energies. So what I had to do was I had to go, actually, yeah, money is important to me. Just like friendship is important to me. Just like my career is important to me. Just like, you know, everything else in my life is important to me. Money is important to me because money is an energy, just like every other energy in my life. And I deserve it. Just like I deserve love. Just like I deserve friendship. And
I love that.
When I started to turn that around and go, okay, money is love. Love is money. It's the same. It's just an energy. That's when I was able to start manifesting it. Beforehand, I wasn't, because I kept going, oh no, it's not important. It's not important. It shouldn't be my focus. It's just as important as anything else.
And what would you say to someone that maybe is starting their own business or in that early phases of knowing their worth with what they charge and how to attract their dream client? Because I had this recently with a friend of mine. We both got businesses and we help each other out. She has a beauty and aesthetics business. And for years and years and years, we'd give each other discount or freebies. And then we kind of one day decided and turned around and said, well, I want to pay you what you're worth and you're going to pay me what I'm worth. And I thought that was a brilliant point in time where we both really shifted our vibration and attraction surrounding that topic of money, because it felt like an awkward conversation, but really we were just looking at each other like, right, we need to act like this is our real business now.
Yes.
And it was a real moment of like, I'm so proud of you, but to each other. And that exchange has always been really nice. And you'd spend money and spend £5 a day on a Starbucks coffee and not think anything different. You're happy to do that exchange. But when it's a friend, who's got a business, suddenly it's awkward and, maybe she'll give me discount, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How do you tap into that frequency of I know my worth and I'm going to attract those people?
Yeah, such a good point. So one thing I always say, and again, this is all to do with taking action, guys. One thing I always say is that when you move, the universe moves with you. So when you put those things in place to go, actually, I respect myself enough to set these boundaries in my business, the universe picks up on that and goes, all right, girl, well, I'll give you what you want then. That's when you start attracting in what you want. Now, the other big thing I'll say with this, and for me personally, the reason I think that I scaled my business to what I scaled it to and constantly attract dream soul-led clients, like these are clients that are so aligned in every single way that I can't wait to work with, right? Is because I say no to the people that aren't aligned. Now, one of the big things, and this all comes down to a fair place again, guys, but one of the big things that can happen when you start a business is you just go, whoever the hell is offering you money, you're going to take it, right? Now, that is such a detrimental thing to do energy-wise, because what you're doing there, is you're taking on energy that isn't aligned to you, so therefore isn't going to complement you or your business or your life, right? So what you've got to get used to is and listen, I have turned away thousands and thousands of pounds in one go. I've had women offer up their money to me and me turn it away because I've known that they're not the right client for me. Now, that's a big risk to do. And again, I've had a lot of people call me crazy. Being crazy is one of the biggest compliments to me. Like, I will continue to be crazy, right? But a lot of people have called me crazy. Oh my God, Jess, how can you turn that down? You've got to keep your business going. When I turn those clients down and that money down, I make space for the right people to come in. And again, it's like I was saying before, it's all energetic space. So I turn that thousands of pounds down with the unaligned client. Next thing I know, I'm getting 5 aligned clients coming at me because they're like, boom, 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 here's the space. And they're easy. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to convince them to work with me. Who the hell would want to convince someone to work with them? Who the hell would want to convince someone to buy their product? You believe in yourself. You believe in your product, so therefore you attract people that believe in your product too. Now, there's the other thing. If you don't quite believe in yourself or the thing you're selling, you're not going to attract in anybody who believes it either. So you'll keep finding that you're like, if you are, in the service-based industry, you'll keep finding that you're jumping on discovery calls with people and they're going, nah, it's not for me. Or, you've had inquiries about the thing you're selling, but suddenly like last minute, they're like, actually, no, I don't want to buy it. Because if you don't have that level of belief over what you're selling, then neither do the people that are in your audience. So it is this combination of it really what it is. It's deep self-belief and self-respect. Being able to say no to the things that you know energetically aren't aligned to you. Knowing that makes the space for the right people to come in tenfold, and believing in yourself. Believing that what you're putting out there is freaking amazing.
So how do you prevent yourself from that self-doubt? Say, for instance, you decide you're going to embody that person and really be that business with a set price. And your first few clients that come in say, oh, you're a bit expensive, or I'm not sure I can afford that, or I get it cheaper elsewhere. How do you deal with those setbacks, those knockbacks from people energetically? Because obviously they're exchanging and imparting an energy with you, giving you almost like access to their self-doubt in themselves. How do you kind of deflect that energy and stay true to yourself?
It's a really interesting question, because I don't think I've ever had a problem with this. But I know that, when I first started off my journey, yeah, of course, there was more doubts that would creep in, which is natural, But what I'd say is that when you have that level of self-belief, no, actually, here's what you want to ask yourself. Do I believe in my prices? Do I believe in my prices? Doesn't matter what anybody else believes. Do I believe in it? And if there is that doubt there, if there is that wobble there, you want to be going back into those subconscious beliefs and going, where the hell is this coming from? And this is a lot of the work that I do with my clients, because sometimes these things are coming from such that deep level, subconscious level, that we don't even realize we're believing them about ourselves. And so that's why we keep seeing these patterns appearing in our business or in our lives, our careers, where it's like, it's just not happening. It's just not working for me, because there's something else going on there underlying it all that's preventing it. Because if you had full self-belief and self-respect in what you're selling and your prices, those people would not faze you one bit. In fact, you'd never come across those people. This is what I find now in my day-to-day life. I don't even see those people. Those people don't even pop up on my newsfeed. Those people aren't around me. Those doubters aren't there, because even if they are there, I don't see them. I spoke about this a little bit on my previous podcast episodes about your reticular activating system that kicks in. And that's just something that's going on in your brain that's actually allowing you to, whatever you believe shows up in your life. So if you're coming across these people that keep doubting your prices or doubting what you're selling, that's because you're doubting it. And so there needs more work to do on your inner world there to get to a point where you're like so freaking certain. Certainty is the key. You're so freaking certain that it is what it's supposed to be. And then all you're going to find showing up in your life is people that are like, I want more of that.
So do you think the universe kind of presents it in the 3D so that you deal with the situation at hand, the deep-rooted stuff? Because a lot of people with money mindset, they have subconscious beliefs around how they obtain money, working hard. You must work hard, therefore. I know a lot of people, and I probably get this at least once a day from somebody if I explain what I do, and they say, oh, well, I have a real job. Or I'd have conversations with people, and it still irks me and triggers me still to this day when people say, oh, so my real job. And I'm like, what do you mean by real job? What is a real job? And it's something that I've done a lot of deep diving recently and gone, there is no such thing as a real job. Every job is real, whether you're working from home, whether you're, out and about. How would you deal with that? Because I feel like a lot of creatives get penalized for that, even in acting.
Oh, massively.
How do you tell people that it's a real job?
It was one of my biggest subconscious limiting beliefs that I discovered in myself, because I was told from a very early age, it is going to be hard work to make money as an actor. Right? I was told all the way through my training, you better get ready, you better get thick skin, you better be ready for the industry because it's going to be tough, and that was like going deep, deep, deep into my subconscious. So when I came out, I wasn't making any money. Do you know what I mean? Like
you've got that fear.
You have that fear, of course. And so for me, really, like, working through that limiting belief of it's going to be hard work was so important. Now for me, I tell myself the easier it feels, the easier it gets for me. So it's like, if I find myself pushing, this is where we can talk about masculine and feminine energies. And again, that's not gender specific. I've always been very much in my masculine, which is a very like doing energy. It's a very go energy. that's because a lot of us have been deeply conditioned to be in that energy, because we think that that's the way that we will, you know, make things happen in our life. Yes, the action is important, like I've said, but if you're not in that energetic flow with what you're doing and actually feeling good, like I said, whilst you're doing it, it's always going to feel like hard work, you know? So yeah, working through that belief is very, very important. Yeah.
So if you were going to sort of tie everything together in terms of somebody's first stepping stone into manifestation, doing a deep dive and a bit of an audit on, you know, subconscious beliefs, where would you say to start? Is there something that you offer within your program, or is there something that you'd like to promote?
Yeah,
share more.
Yeah, massively. I mean, this is where my academy came from, because my whole academy, so this is it's a 3-month course, but it's actually going to be extended very soon. I'm working, I've been very much in creation mode for a while, because I've got some brand new things being added in there. But my academy was built through my whole experience of this manifestation process. So like I said, it's going through that mindset side of things, it's going through the miracle and energy work side of things, and then it's going into actually making it happen for you with the manifestation. And it involved in that academy, we do a hell of a lot of shadow work. So shadow work, for those that are like, you know, only just hearing this concept, like it's where you're really working on those shadows that, when I say shadows, they are those limiting beliefs. They're those things that you believe about yourself and the world around you that are going on underneath things that you're not really that aware of. And so we want to pull them to the surface. What I always say is we want to shine a light on those shadows. All that means is that we become hyper aware of what the hell's going on, so that we can actually move through them. And we move through them in so many different ways. You know, we're doing inner child work, we're doing deep energy work, we're going back to those, we're doing that belief work, you know. And honestly, until you really do that like deep refresh of your soul, like everything else is surface level. And this is why, again, a lot of the TikToks you might see, or the things on Instagram that are like, write this out 10 times and then you're going to manifest it into your life, it's just doesn't work, because you
challenges. I see challenges all the time. Do this in 20 days. and it's causing that resistance, because people don't believe that they can do it within the time frame, and they're looking too hard for it.
Absolutely. And do you know what else it's doing? It's just adding toxicity into this world of this spiritual world, this world of manifestation, because you've got half the population that are like, well, it hasn't worked for me, so it doesn't work. And then you've got the other half of the population going, actually, look at me, I'm living it because I've done the work. And so one of the things that I would say, if you really want to see change in your life, is you've got to blooming well commit to yourself. And that's why I always say it's important to invest, because, you know, you can't always do this on your own. Just in the same way that you may go to therapy, like going to a coach and working through this shadow work and doing these things with me, like that is your accountability there to make it happen. I had to do it myself, and I'm always doing it, right? I'm always investing in myself in that way. And, you know, even if you can't invest in yourself in those big ways, because actually, again, I'll just quickly say that this, when we talk about money mindset, is very, very important, because with money as with an energetic source, it's a flow. And so I'll just touch upon another way of calling in that money, and something that I always think about, you know, when I'm doing money mindset work, I'm always thinking about that flow. So if I feel stagnant, right, basically, if I've hoarded money, if I'm not letting go of my money, if I know I've got the money there and I'm not spending it, you're blocking a flow. Equally, if I'm spending, and like it's like the tap is on full, then I'm not in the flow, right? So you're finding that perfect balance of going, okay, where is my flow right now? Could I be letting go of a bit more money? Whenever I come across a money fear, I always look at my account, and I get it, because I know my account very, very well, right? You've got to get to know it because it's your best friend. I look at my finances and I go, have I been overspending or have I been underspending? If I've been underspending, what can I be spending my money on that's going to be meaningful for me? And I'm not talking about like more coffees in the week. Like that's not going to be meaningful for you. You don't need to do that. I'm talking about things that courses. I've got a masterclass that it's called Becoming Superhuman. It's only £44. £44. What is that? That's like a few coffees in the week. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you
well, not that expensive now, but I feel like people will willingly spend £5 to £10 on coffee a day.
Exactly.
And you think about how much that adds up to. That's probably more than £44, and you're investing in something long term.
Absolutely. And so it's really looking at your flow. You're looking at your money flow and going, where have I been overspending or have I been underspending? If you've been overspending, then stop. Like cut down a bit, get to know your finances and go, I don't need to spend on this week, right? Because I think that doesn't get spoken about as well in the spiritual community. I think a lot of people hear all the time, oh yes, spend your money, be in the flow, spend your money. No, it's not always that way. You've got to get to know your finances. Your finances are your best friend. Money is your best friend, right? So look at it and be honest with yourself and go, do I need to be spending that this week? No, I don't. I'm going to respect myself and not spend that. Equally, when you know, because you know, and I'm going to be like triggering a hell of a lot of people here, but when you know,
probably
you
me
do,
as well.
right? Yeah, but this is good. This is my job, right? When you know that you do have that money, that you do have that £44 or you do have that 30 quid to spend on a masterclass or a course that you are drawn to energetically, that you know is going to help serve you, and you're not spending it, you're not helping yourself, right? And again, this is where commitment comes in. This is where moving so the universe has no choice but to move with you, you know? And I think that when you start taking those leaps, you get addicted to it. You really do. Now I'm addicted to it. Whenever I know and I look at my bank account and I go, oh, okay, I've underspent this week. How can I be adding to the flow in a very, very productive way? I'm going to buy that course this week and I'm going to do it for me because I freaking deserve it, right? So I don't know how we got onto this conversation, but I'm like diving down the hole of money again. But it's very, very, it's very important to know if you're wanting to call more money into your life.
No, it's really interesting. And it kind of ties in well with another sort of area of manifestation that I really want to touch on, and that's quantum jumping. You've mentioned in a few of your podcasts about it, and I think you're the only person I've listened to that has explained it and not made it sound ridiculous. TikTok, I would hear it on TikTok and be like, what on earth?
Yeah.
I'm so confused. And it was almost like a beginning, an A to Z rather than an A, B, C, D situation. And in your kind of explanation, you detailed how you need to take small inspired action and get yourself doing that 1% of aligned action every day to get to the end product. How would you describe quantum jumping to my listeners now? Like what are you doing to quantum jump?
So yes, it does get thrown around a lot. Listen, guys, you should never be aiming to quantum jump in the sense of like, I want to see my quantum jump. Where's my quantum jump? Because you will never see it. And I think this is what we all need to understand. You're never going to understand when you're quantum jumping because it's already freaking happened by the time that you notice it, right? So like for me, when I quantum jumped in my finances, where I went from 0 to 100K in 8 months, that written on paper is like, fuck, oh my God, wow, right? But did I realize that was happening whilst it was happening? No, because what I was doing was I was present in that moment with my 1% a day, you know, or maybe even 10% a day, maybe 90% a day, who knows, whatever the frick felt right for me. But just those baby steps of action, they are your quantum leap. That is your quantum leap in disguise. So rather than kind of focusing on this like big jump that you want to happen in your life, do the small embodiment practices, do the small daily habit changes, you know, make your bed in the morning, like just start there. Do you know what I mean? One thing that I've been, you know, really kind of working on myself is going, okay, how can I do all the hard things today in the morning, like before 9 a.m. even? Like I've got into this habit of like, before I've even got dressed, what can I be doing that's actually like my 1% for that day? Because if you've done that, there's this huge sense of achievement where you're like, okay, well, I could do another percent, I could do another percent, right? But honestly, your quantum leap, you will only notice once you've leaped. And
It's interesting because I feel like I've had one recently, and it's so fascinating because beginning of August, really sort of very low place, and then took time off social media, been off of it for a month, started to do those baby steps, little bits of morning routine, found you. Now I'm interviewing you, and I just feel like I'm in my quantum leap right now, and you don't realize it until you do. It's almost like the looking back.
Yeah.
And seeing like, wow, I've accomplished this. But sometimes it's not all about, you know, the physicalities, the materialistic things, which often people on TikTok show up and talk about. They talk about how your life's going to change. And, oh, I know I'm a millionaire. It's like, yes, you can have that, but it's much deeper than that.
It's so much deeper than that. And do you know what? You bring up a really great point, because yes, of course, there's physical manifestations, but there's also emotional manifestations. And you have to go through the emotional manifestations before you hit the physical ones. I didn't jump from 0 to 100k in 8 months without first having a quantum leap in my self-belief, right? Just in not even in my self-love, like freaking falling back in love with myself. That was a quantum leap, because for so many years I didn't love myself. Now, another thing here, guys, is that if you've been feeling away for years and years and years, right? Let's say you've had very little confidence. Maybe you've got anxiety. Maybe, you know, you really just don't believe in yourself, right? And that's gone on for years. The thing is with the quantum leap is that it doesn't have to take another 10 years to get out of that, right? It can take very, very short amount of time, but all that you've got to do is change those daily habits and actually view those 1% as your quantum leaps, like making that bed in the morning. Wow, I just quantum leaped. Like actually just telling yourself that, celebrating that is so important, you know, because I think as well with high achievers, which I'm sure there's a lot of high achievers listening to your podcast. There's a lot of high achievers in my audience because I'm a high achiever, right? So I attract high achievers in. But with people that want a lot from their lives, I can find that there's a lot of this kind of, there's a forward momentum and thinking, okay, I want to call this in, but not actually acknowledging and paying gratitude and celebrating what the hell you've actually already called in. So like you just said, you've only realized that you've quantum leaped now because you looked back. Everybody listening now, just look back on the last 5 years of your life and just ask yourself, what have you called in? Because I guarantee every single one of you, 5 years ago, you will have hoped for something that you now have. And I think if your focus can be there rather than all these other things that you want, you're going to immediately tap into the right vibration for everything else.
Definitely. I think that's so true, because one of the first things that I did for my mindset shift in August, actually, I randomly found it, one of those like gratitude journals, and I know they seem very silly and superficial and they're very trendy at the moment, but I tapped into it and thought, at the beginning of the month I was like, there's nothing good to write, there's nothing good, but I stuck at it, and then I realized like, wow, there is so much in my day that is amazing, and then it attracted more abundance. And I think you're right in that belief that you need to be grateful. You need to start with a point of gratitude, and then it invites more into your life. It shows the universe that you are grateful for the small things, therefore I will supply you with more.
Absolutely. One thing that I get my clients to do is, because we've all heard of gratitude lists, and the reason that I invented this thing that I'll tell you about is because I actually did find gratitude lists difficult at the start, because I found a lot of my shadows coming to the surface where I was like, oh my God, why didn't I feel grateful for this before? Am I a bad person because I should have thought about this? And it wound up in the wrong vibe for me. So what I like to do is I like to write a power list. I'm all for tapping into that bad bitch self. I'm all for tapping into that true empowerment in yourself, right? Now, with your power list, you're looking back and you're going, okay, what have I done? What have I done? What have I called in? What have I achieved? Again, if you write in this power list every single week, it can be as small as I went to the gym every day, like, you know, and that was a goal of mine, and it happened. I did it. I freaking did it, right? Writing those things down. Or you could like do it, you know, do the kind of broader version and go, okay, look at my life. What have I actually achieved in my life? What have I done myself? Me. me, powerful me, what did I do? And there is, I guarantee, things that you have called in, right? However big or small, guys. Really, I really want you to just look at what you have done power-wise for yourself. Because what that does is it goes, again, it just retrains your mind and goes, well, if I've done that once, I can do that again. You know?
Definitely.
And I think that helps as well with any kind of fear that creeps in around one thing that I've noticed as well in myself is that sometimes I can look back and go, oh, I had that thing and now I don't have it anymore. Or I used to be like that and why am I not like that anymore, right? The other thing is just kind of, like I said, telling yourself, if I had that before, if I've done that before, I can do it again and again and again and again and again, right? So power lists, gratitude lists, the same. Like, you know, gratitude, paying gratitude for everything that you have in your life, your friends, the place that you live, the roof over your head, all of those things. But power lists are there for you to go, damn, I am a freaking powerful being, even in the smallest of ways.
People forget all the things that they've achieved, even in a year. I think sometimes as well, Instagram, we look at that and go, oh, look at all the things I've done the holidays. But it's like, that's on a very materialistic level. If you're actually sitting down to write real things, I feel like deeper things come out than just the obvious, the materialistic. So
massively. This is why journaling and, you know, getting pen to paper is such a great practice. Yeah.
Amazing. It's been so wonderful to chat to you and just get a real insight into your energy. I feel like I've had like a coaching call or something. It feels really high vibrational, and yeah, I feel like I'm definitely hit a quantum jump in my own life, so that's super exciting. Is there anything you want to share in terms of finding you on socials? I'll obviously link everything in the show notes.
Well, you can find me over on my Instagram, which is at I am Jessica Paul, and I hang out mostly on my podcast, so it is just the Jessica Paul podcast. A very simple name, but it's all things mindset and manifestation. So if you're interested in that, do come ahead, go and follow me on Instagram and drop me a DM, because I love connecting with everybody. So like any DMs are welcome, and I have a few other like offers and stuff available, which you can DM me about, or you can find them on my website.
Amazing. I'll also link some of my favorite episodes below, because I have to say I have been binge listening.
Amazing.
So I will do that as well. Thank you so much for coming on and chatting with me, guys. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I feel super high vibes. So thank you so much, Jess.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for tuning into Staying Sweet, the podcast. If you enjoyed listening, please do leave a rate and review, and I will catch you next week for a new episode.